tell me about your first feeling of the Stone Lion Inn. Like when you walked in, when you felt the place, like how did it feel to you?
I don't know if I had like a general reaction because I was felt overwhelmed with meeting new people. Like it was just I didn't get to like feel the
Yeah.
vibes of the house initially, but once I was like touring the house, it felt very like murder mystery vibes of like Clue with all the hidden doors and entryways. Um, and I did not like the attic, which we eventually were in. Like that was kind of creepy. And then the basement, which we are also eventually in. Those were like the two spots when I was getting toured that didn't fully enjoy the vibes.
Mm. Excuse me. What didn't you like about it? Like was it a what was is it the feeling? Is it a energy? Like explain it to me.
Um, I think it was just creepy. Like I don't know. I don't think I felt energy or anything like that initially. I think it just felt very haunted house like and spooky.
Oh really? You did feel the haunted house vibe from it?
Yeah, I was like just the like how the cellar went down the stairs, like that was like spooky and like I didn't want to initially go down there. He's like, and then it was just the like how this house is structured very much felt like your stereotypical like haunted house, like your attic and your basement.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like I keep thinking of like Clue, of like how that like the entryway of like the moving Clue, and then there's
Hmm.
the basement and attic.
Cut that out. Okay. I don't know what's going on with me now. Okay, cool. So tell me about your room. Because did you know I found out that your room is the most haunted room in the whole building.
Okay, that makes sense because our room was so cold, and everyone kept telling me it was just the AC, and every other room felt way warmer than our room. Like our room felt so like cold once you entered it. And then I mentioned it, I feel like I mentioned it to mom or something like that. And everyone's like, no, that's just the AC. And I was like, but everyone else's rooms felt like a normal temperature, but our room felt so cold initially.
That's funny because I was right next to your room and my room wasn't cold ever.
So weird. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
ours like I think it warmed up as the weekend went on, or maybe I just like brushed it off. But like I remember initially going into the room and it was freezing.
Did you ever feel anything like sleeping and stuff like that, or was it okay?
Oh, when I was sleeping, not the first night, the second night.
Mhm.
I don't know if this was just me in my head, but there was like I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought I saw, like the door between our rooms.
Hmm.
I felt like there was like a giant, like 6 foot man standing
Really?
there. Yeah, I don't know. This is just to me, like, because it was also a few drinks in where like I don't know if that was just me telling myself that but like it was a shadowy like figure. And then again, I don't know if this was just me in like the state, like just half awake tiredness too. Or like when I looked up at the chandelier, it looked like a shadowy figure was up there as well. Like, have you seen Insidious?
Hmm. Oh, I know
It
exactly what
felt
you're
like
talking about.
that like creature in the corner. Felt like that's what was like on the chandelier.
Just kind of hanging out, like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, and like staring down. And then I
Like,
had to like turn around
oh,
and like I just covered myself in the sheets and told myself it wasn't there. But like I do remember waking up and thinking like there looked like a 6 foot shadow, but I was like felt like masculine energy between our doors. And then there's like some weird shadowy creature thing that like I just thought of like Insidious, like hanging up on the chandelier.
yeah, that's so weird because in my room there was a woman sitting on the bed that was all in black and grieving and telling me about the sadness. Basically, I wonder if they were together
Yeah, I don't know.
because
It
our
was,
our
yeah,
rooms were only connected by like that little
that
there's two
little nook.
walls, the little nook where the books are. Yeah, so I don't know. Did it try to say anything to you? Did it look at you? Did it do anything? I mean, or just stared at you?
I think just stared. I didn't want to engage. Like
You
I
don't know.
noticed it and then I like went under my covers and just like I didn't want to engage.
Okay. Did Eric see anything?
No, he was
No.
passed out.
He's just kind of oblivious to it all.
Yeah.
Did any of the other rooms kind of creep you out? Did you feel anything in any? Because we were all in each other's rooms, so like.
The only other room that creeped me out, but like I don't have any solid reason, was like the crib room, just because that it was like a crib and that just was creepy. Um, but no, I don't feel like any of the other rooms had like weird energy. I was also not in a lot of other people's rooms.
Why didn't you like the crib room?
I feel like it's that stereotypical, like just it felt so out of place compared to like all of the other rooms when
Yeah, I
like
noticed
doing the
that.
tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden there's this room at the crib that like couldn't be used for an actual baby. Like it just had a weird vibe to it. Like these all the other rooms were like very much made to like for somebody to stay in, where like this
Mm-hmm.
room didn't really have a purpose and it just was there for
That
I
was in
think the
Sean's room,
sake.
right? You're talking about the one in Sean's room
Yeah.
with the mirror.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a creepy room because the mirror is there, and then there's like the baby stuff, and it just doesn't feel like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah, the crib was like filled with a bunch of stuffed animals and things like that, where it's like even if you had a baby, you're not putting it in that crib.
Yeah,
Like it
it was
just
just really
it
off.
felt very out of place. Like maybe for the time when it was first built, it made sense, but like for what it's being used now, it just didn't make sense for why that room was dressed that way.
Yeah, I asked if everybody wanted to do a Ouija board session in there, and everyone was like, "No, thank you. We'll stay right here." Like nobody would go in, and I was like, "Why is it really that scary in there?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, yeah, we're not going in there." And I asked
Yeah,
Sean,
no.
it's Sean's room, and I asked him, "Are you gonna go in there?" And he's like, "I don't go in there." And I'm like, "Wow, everybody's." But I went in there, and I was like, "I get it. There's something really off about the room. It's not supposed
Yeah.
to be there, or I don't know. It's very creepy."
And
Yeah.
then it's weird that it's also like one of those like off rooms, like how your room was.
Hmm.
It just, yeah, I don't know. That room didn't just had bad vibes. It was like it didn't have a purpose at all for like what the function of how the house is now. But it's interesting that everyone also was repulsed by it.
Yeah, like nobody would go in there. Like Sean
Yeah.
said, the whole time. Like I said, Sean said the whole time he was staying in that room, he didn't go in there. He just kept the door
Yeah.
open.
I would have closed that door. No.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's how I dealt with a lot of the interactions, just hiding under my covers.
That's funny. Okay, so tell me about. Okay, first of all, have you ever paranormal investigated? Have you ever done it?
I No, not formally.
Okay.
Or I was like, no. I was like, I feel like I've had interactions with ghosts growing up, but like I've never seeked them out.
Okay. Do you feel like you are empathic or psychic to a certain degree?
I think empathic, maybe psychic. I don't know. I assume psychic because everyone in the family is
Yeah, it's kind of
on
hard
that.
not to be in this family.
But I definitely resonate with being empathic for
Empathic.
sure.
You definitely feel other people's feelings.
Yeah, it's a
You're
lot.
sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But have you ever seen the future or felt like something was going to happen and then it did or anything like that?
Possibly. I don't
You just
I
don't pay
feel like
attention to it.
yeah, I don't think I'm like tuned in as well
Okay.
with it. I feel like when I was younger, more
Mhm.
so, but not as much as I've gotten older.
Right. Did you just kind of turn it off?
Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm still figuring that one out.
Okay. Okay. The reason why I ask is because you were so interactive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like you were picking up on stuff like crazy. So I was just wondering
I
if that's
think,
something you do.
no, it's not something I do, but I think I'm just a very open person where like I feel like a lot of people, like just people, alive people, I'll just be minding my own business and then they feel the need to like tell me some deep dark secret or like feel like I'm a safe place for them to like express their emotions to, where I think maybe that's why. And then also like I know the main ghost that was interacting with me was a little girl and like I've worked with kids constantly like since the age of, well, I've been with kids since like the age of 10 of like working and taking care of kids. So I feel like there's maybe that type of like not maternal, but like caretaker energy.
Yeah. Like the
Um,
safety is there.
yeah. But I do like experience like people just like feeling like I with no reason, strangers and things like that, feel like I'm a safe, like they'll just divulge or like rant to me about something where I'm like, this is not what you do with a normal person. Or like just yeah, use me as like a safe place to kind of unload their feelings or whatever's going on with them. And like it happens pretty randomly with like I've just had random strangers come up to like that I'm like, I feel like the last week the librarian was just like telling me about the most like stuff that I was like, you don't talk to the normal people like this. Um, yeah. So I don't know.
That happens to me all the time too. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll be in the grocery store in line. The person in front of me will turn around and tell me their whole life story. And I'm like, dude, I just came here for cream cheese. I don't like, I don't
Yeah.
care.
No, I've
But
had like people like that are mourning loss, like tell me about the person that just passed away unprompted, where like uh yeah, they'll just turn to me. And then I do a lot of customer service work, so it's a lot of like forward facing work and like interacting with people, but like then they feel like I don't know. There's just sometimes where I'm like, this is not the stereotypical customer service conversation. All of a sudden, they'll take a turn and they'll tell me about some heartbreak or like oftentimes like it's usually like somebody passed away and they're like mourning and like needing to like get it off their chest. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't, I guess I'm carrying this now.
do you say sorry or you just listen or like, what do you usually do?
I typically just listen and then like depending on usually I kind of feel out like what they need to hear of like usually sometimes it's just like they need to be listened to or like sorry like your like my condolences. I'm sorry for your loss. Um, but oftentimes it's just me like listening. That's like most of it. And then like at the end of the conversation it's usually like that must be hard or like sorry for your loss and then we go on our separate paths, but
You're
most of
like,
the time it's just me just sitting there listening.
you're like going, why am I here? Like, what's going on here? Like, yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
like,
it. I get everybody wants to dump. Um, yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm still trying to figure that out. But people do that to me too. They just walk up to me and start talking to, or like just anywhere. If I go anywhere, I could be at the Dollar Tree and the person in the same aisle as me starts telling me about their life story. And I'm like, okay, like this is a toothpaste aisle. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't know. Do I have that look of like, I don't know. And there's,
yeah, I always like take it as a compliment where I'm like, oh, they found me as a safe person. But then sometimes it's like, sometimes you're just like at your limit. You're like, I don't need to hear this right now. Like, you're not gonna listen to me, so I can't do this.
right. They don't want to listen to you. They just want to talk at you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing for sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so tell me. So we went to the the first night we went to the basement first, right?
No, we went to the attic
The
first.
attic first. Okay, yeah, we started on the first floor, and I know just from writing about the place and just from things I read online that the attic is supposed to be where the most activity is, which is really funny because your grandpa went outside and took a picture and sent it to me and circled it and said, "This is where all the activity is." And I kind of laughed.
Ah, he got into it.
Yeah. And that's before he showed up. And I was like, okay,
Hmm.
why are you telling me? But he's right. And I'm like, you're correct. But I guess it's so obvious that if you look outside, you'll see it. So we went up there first just to kind of feel it out to see what was up there, and there was a whole group of us. So this your you said this was your first time like really investigating?
Yeah,
Okay. And what did the attic feel like to you?
felt like we weren't supposed to be there.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it was A, the sign that said we weren't supposed to be here. So like my titty good shoes like was like, we're not supposed to be here. But also like the like once you were sitting in the circle, I don't know. I think that's also when my anxiety was at the highest because it was the first time of like intentionally investigating and also like poking the bear of ghosts because I
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
it's usually like
Mhm.
if they interact with me, it's usually just like in passing where I'm like, cool, you stay over there, I'll stay here, I see you, but like I don't want to interact with you. Um, so like that anxiety was definitely there. So I don't know if it was like the actual energy or for like my own anxiety of like we're not supposed to be here, we're not supposed to be doing that. Um, but yeah, like once we got into the circle, I think it was just really, yeah, that piano as just was like as we were conducting everything, just had a lot of like energy because like I kept thinking that somebody was behind me. And so I kept looking behind me and like I was pretty like face back to like a wall. Like the only thing there was like the window and all that junk and then the piano. So like I don't know, that like before even like she touched my hands or anything like that, that piano was like I kept thinking it was somebody standing behind me, but then it was just the piano. And I was like, I kept just getting hyper fixated on that piano. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting because when I was up there, I kept feeling somebody to my, I'm just sitting like this, so to my right. And so I had to turn to like, because I hate when things are looking at you, you know what I mean? I hate that feeling. So I turned so I could see, but then once I turned, then I was looking at the piano and I'm like, oh man, I can't like catch break here because like there's somebody over here, but there's somebody over here too. So like
Did
we
you
were,
get energy from the piano before I started mentioning the piano?
yes.
Okay.
And that's why I was sitting kind of weird. If you noticed, I was in the circle, but I was sitting kind of weird. It's because I felt something on this side, but then I didn't really like sitting over here because of the piano and because of the stuff over here. I felt very like we are literally being like there's our circle, and then there was another circle with the spirits. Like they were like looking over our shoulders or trying to figure out what we were doing there. I don't know. There was curiosity for sure. I didn't feel like it was negative, just curious, you know?
Yeah. I don't feel like any of the energy except the monsters part. Like nothing ever felt super negative. Like I don't know. Maybe it was just we got lucky with the ghost that I was interacting with, but like I never felt like super negative energy because if I had, I would have like broke the circle and left because I don't deal with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with it either. So tell us what happened. Like I want to hear it in your own words, like your experience with it.
Trying to remember like the order of events, but what like I fully remember was like before I had my interaction with you, uh the light boxes were going off and then the sound box was definitely like reiterating monsters and we had determined that it was two different people like a masculine and a feminine energy.
Hmm.
And like right before my interaction, I definitely like had the piano, uh, just the piano kept touching my eye. And then you mentioned that you felt your gust of cold wind touching you.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't feeling anything yet. But then I want to say like 5 minutes later, like
Hmm.
I was sitting with my, I wonder if this is also why she attracted me, because how I was sitting was with my palms open. I was
Oh.
sitting down with my palms open in my hand, um, kind of like how you sit for like meditation or whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, like I want to say 5 minutes or a few minutes after you had mentioned your interaction, I just felt my hands get tingly and cold. And like that was just all I was feeling for a really long time. And like I feel like I don't even know how long that was, but like that was almost until we basically went down to the basement. My hands were cold and tingly. And then I think once it transferred for me, Sean said that he got a gust of cold
Hmm.
like after it transferred out of from my hands. But it definitely just like I didn't feel it anywhere else in my body. It was just my hands that were palm up that were cold and like tingly, which then I felt that also in the basement again. So I kept when we went down to the basement, I was like something's up with my palms up. So I kept my palms up to see if like that would engage with it again, and it did.
That's really clever, actually. It's very clever to, well, that's how it's like communicating with me, so I'm gonna keep it open. Um, so the spirit went from me just cold, and then you were next. So we're in a circle, so it just kind of moved down the circle and then to Sean and then moved out. I know John was next to Sean, but he didn't feel it, but I think it's because he was holding the K2 meter and he was one that
Yeah.
was like facilitating the communication. So it was already
And
talking.
then I asked Eric if he felt anything, and he's like, no. And I think
Right.
at that, yeah, Eric was like, I didn't feel anything.
Then he's sitting next to you. Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
He
So,
wasn't sitting next to me. He was sitting next to in between John and
oh,
Karen.
okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, and it just kind of jumped over him because he was talking to John, and then Sean was right
Yeah,
there.
so it was Karen, you, me, Sean, John, Eric.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I'm like, why did it? Okay. Yeah, it didn't jump over him. It was just didn't get to him. Okay. It was like, no, you don't want to
Yeah.
talk to me. Okay. Moving on.
It was
Um,
like on our side of the circle, you, me, and
yeah.
Sean.
Yeah. It was very interesting that it was trying to, and the spirit box was saying what? Monsters, go to the
Play.
basement, play.
I forget how it confirmed that there was two people,
We heard two voices.
two voices. Play, monsters.
The male voice kept saying no.
Oh, and she kept saying yes, right? Is that what
Yeah.
it
She
was?
kept saying yes, and he kept saying no, don't go. He kept saying no, don't go. And she's like, yes, monsters, go to the basement. Yes.
Mhm.
Like she was answering the questions. The the male voice was just saying no the whole time. And I was like, what's going on here? Like it's so weird. And we never even had any interaction with the guy after that. He just stayed in the basement, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because the main girl that we were talking to in the basement was the little girl, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what made you want to pick up that piano? I'm so interested.
You told me to pick up the piano.
I did? That's so cool.
Yeah.
But,
You
but,
said bring the piano down to the basement.
but you felt like you wanted to take it. I don't remember just telling you to do that. There was something about it where you were
Oh, I asked if she wanted to play with the piano and she said yes. And then you said take the piano down to the
just take it
basement.
with us. So we were literally told go to the basement, right?
Yeah.
It said go to the basement. It was really, really clear. And I was like, what? Because you usually don't get like that clear of instructions. And then it
Mm.
said down below or like below you or something like that.
It was like go below you.
Go below you, which is the basement. And then it said go to the basement. Yeah. So we took the piano to the basement and nobody wanted to go in the basement because it's a freaking scary basement.
Yeah. Not a fan.
I kept calling it the Conjuring stairs because if you ever saw the movie The Conjuring, you know how she looks, there's that one scene where she looks down into the basement with those
Yeah,
stairs.
no, I didn't like those stairs. That's what
Yeah,
I couldn't remember what I was thinking of, but I think it was The Conjuring. I didn't like the
yeah,
basement. And then when we went down, it was just the table with circle of chairs. I didn't like that. Of
yeah. There
like,
was
and the
literally.
piano fit so well in the center of the table.
I know we all go down there, and there's a circle of chairs with a little table in the middle, and the piano fit, like you said, perfectly.
Yeah,
How did that make you
no,
feel?
I didn't like it. I
You
was
didn't like
like,
it?
or like, it just was like, I don't know. I don't, yeah, it was just so strange where like all of a sudden this piano that had been getting my attention, and then we were told to go to the basement of like, it felt like very much like I was like, this is a horror movie in the making. Like, we're gonna put the piano down and we're gonna unlock something and something's gonna come get us. It was like the feeling I was getting.
Yeah, I did too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, this is too like, why are we going down in the basement again? Like, why am I always gonna end up in the basements of places? Um,
Yeah, no, I don't like basements. So I was like already the basement and everything. I was like, no, it's not it.
because there's so many floors to that place, and it took us to the
Yeah.
very bottom floor of the place. So that was kind of weird. What was the feeling like in the basement besides the creepiness? Because the creepiness was there. Did you feel her there, or
At one point we were sitting in the circle and my hands did get tingly again and cold. And like I felt like that was when there wasn't much activity happening, but like my hands were cold again in that same like cold, tingly feeling that I felt in the attic. Um, because I remember being like, is anyone else feeling anything? Because I was like, my hands are definitely cold and like tingly, but everyone else kind of seemed like nobody was really getting any other interactions. So that was a very much of like, why are you targeting me? Like type of vibe of like, why me? Um, but like, yeah, it's like the main interaction I remember getting. And then when I was doing the rods, I was playing with the what are they called? The little
housing
rods?
rods? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I just was curious how those worked, and I definitely like when I was holding them, I feel like once we got to the basement, everyone was kind of getting scattered, where like compared to like our circle in the
Mm-hmm.
attic was very like cohesive and like very intentional. Where like once we got to the basement, I felt like everyone's intentions were a little more scattered and
Yeah.
like not everyone was focusing on the same thing. So like I like had a moment to myself with the rods and like could definitely like feel something, the energy or whatever, like pull the rods because I was curious of like how those worked and it was interesting to feel like the tension get pulled. So like I definitely felt the rods have tension or some energy that was down there like pulling the rods. Um but yeah, I was like I feel like I have a harder time pinpointing the basement because we no one was as cohesive in the moment.
I think it was nerves
Yeah.
because it was very weird down there. The energy is very off. And so we couldn't keep everybody. Well, everybody was sitting around the circle because we set the parameters at the circles where you communicate. So the circle was what's happening, but there were so many things down there and so many things to look at and just nervousness. Nobody wants to sit still when they feel like they're underground and
Yeah.
gonna be, played with a ghost. Um, so you were doing the rods in our circle, and what did you feel with that, or where did it pointed somewhere, didn't it? It started pointing at things.
Yeah. It's like I don't remember what I was pointing at. It was like I know I wasn't holding the rods when it pointed at the basement or the cellar door. That was somebody else that I'm forgetting who was holding that. But then when we found like the tornado cellar,
Yeah, yeah, that was you.
that wasn't that was me holding the
That
rods? I
was
thought that was
you.
mom.
No, that was you.
Oh. Because I remember it doing like a diagonal pointing. That was
Yeah,
like the
that was
main
you.
thing. Oh, that yeah, I remember the diagonal was me. I thought the seller was mom.
Mm-mm.
Um, no, because I don't think I was really paying attention to what was happening with like around me. I was just really like fixated on the rods and like I was paying attention to like where it's like, oh, I'm not moving these. These are actually moving on its own, and I do feel the energy pulling them, which like so I wasn't really in the present moment to like figure out what was happening around me. I was like really hyper fixated on the rods. Like I don't fully remember what the actual things were pointing at or the questions that were getting answered. Um, as I was just I was more fixated on like I was amazed of like feeling the energy of the rods, I think.
Right. Yeah. That does make sense. And it is kind of interesting we ended up in the basement because we brought the piano down. I know you were playing it, and then every time you were playing it, the lights would go off. And we put the that's funny because we put the KUT meter on top of the piano, but that's not the one that was beeping. It was the ghost meter was one that was beeping while you were doing that. So that was kind of interesting. It really liked when you were playing piano, but we found those little kid like houses or whatever that were sitting there
Oh, the
too.
dollhouse.
The dollhouse, there was like a barn and
There's like a boat, a barn, a dollhouse.
yeah, like all these kid things down there.
Yeah. I was like, the dollhouse was the one that spoke to me. It just, I think it was the aesthetics of it were very similar to the piano, like the wood type of
Hmm.
and the colors. Um, I don't know, that was like the one thing that I kept getting drawn to, which we eventually then put on the table with the piano.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't have a full rhyme or reason, but like nothing like pulled me to the dollhouse. It just was like weird that we were talking to a little girl, and then there was this dollhouse, pretty like accessible, and then also like matched the aesthetics of the piano that we are also bringing down there. It's like the dots I was connecting.
Yeah, that is a little bit strange. Yeah, it was like it intentionally wanted to go down there because of that. But so you pointed, I know that nobody wanted to leave the circle and look around. I know that was a thing because everyone was like, "Oh, we don't no nobody leave the circle." And I left the circle to grab the um the dollhouse. But then when you pointed in that corner, it was weird. Yeah, because you pointed diagonally with the rods towards the corner. Um, you didn't know it because you were so focused, but me and Sean were talking about what is in the corner. And we were talking about it to ourselves.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
he kept going, "What is behind me?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but what is in the corner? Like, there's something back there." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna find out." And so then when you pointed at it, it was like, okay, we're all kind of getting the same thing because we were
Mm.
already going in that direction. And then when you pointed at it, it was like, okay, it's paying attention. It wants us to go over there. And then when Sean went over there and found the cellar door, for the shutters for the tornado, I don't know why, but like the picture of her of Joan came into my head, and I was like, monsters, cellar doors, or like tornado doors in the basement. And I don't know why, but I was like, I know who we're talking to. Um, it it was just it hit me, and I was like, what is going on right now? Because Joan Crawford, I think her last name is Crawford, or Joan, something like Joan Gay something. That's not Crawford, and it's not Hart. Why do I always say that? Anyway, I can never remember her last name. But anyway, Joan, she lived 2 hours away
Mhm.
in Woodward.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so my last name is Woodward. You're come from the Woodward family, so but Sarah's last name was Woodward, so it was kind of weird. Um, and then Joan had Sean's birthday. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, and then you showed a picture of Joan, and it kind of looks like mom when she was a little
Little
girl.
baby, right?
Yeah, like there's some of those old photos of mom when she's
Uh huh.
dressed up like very feminine, where I was like, that looks like mom,
With the
like
blonde
as
hair,
little
like the blonde
the
curly hair.
blonde curly hair, pigtails, and she's like, I think there's like one where she's in a plaid skirt and like blouse. That
Yeah. That's
yeah,
totally your mom, my sister. Yeah. So it was kind of weird. I'm like, why would she be in this house though? And that I think that was throwing me off is like she should not be here. This is not a ghost in the house.
yeah.
Like we did not encounter any ghost that was actually in that house. Like none of the
Oh yeah, interesting.
yeah, because I have a list of all the ghosts that are supposed to be there. We didn't talk to any of them. And you guys don't know that. I know that because I know the stories, right? But I
Yeah,
intentionally didn't tell anybody anything on purpose, just kind of see what you guys get. And we're down in the basement, and I'm like, why is Joan here? Of all the people that should be here, why is it Joan? Why is it not one of the other little girls that are supposed to be here?
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So how do you feel about it? I mean, it's almost like you were talking about how like people come up and talk to you and tell you things. So
Yeah,
why would she come forward and start talking to you? Like, what do you think her message is?
I don't know what her message is. Um, but I think it's interesting that the little girl came up to talk to me. I don't know everyone's backgrounds, but I think from learning what everyone does for a living, I have the most experience in like childcare and working
Yeah.
with kids and like education. So
Hmm.
I do think that was interesting that the little girl kept interacting with me, like the person that is always around kids, where like maybe she felt like I was a safe space. Um, but no, like I remember being very like once you were like, it's a little girl, I remember just being like, of course, the little girl is interacting with me. Like, I don't, where I'm like, it was very much of a, I don't know, God damn it. Like, like, this little kid is coming and finding me to interact with. Like, I guess so. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I was like, I think it was just very interesting. It was also like my first time interacting with ghosts in that way because like as I said, like growing up, I've also had experience with ghosts like when I was a little kid, and
Hmm.
then also like in high school, like there's experiences that I've had not as much in college, or like recently. So like it was very much of like touching something that I hadn't really experienced in a long time. Um, but like going further into it, because usually it's like I see them, I go, I recognize you, but like don't interact with me. I don't really want to like interact. Then we usually mind our own spaces. So like I was having just a lot of anxiety, I think, through it all because it was that like pushing to interact with something that I usually don't usually interact with.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like she had a certain message, or do you feel like she just wanted to be seen, or what was the vibe that you got from that?
I don't know if I can like determine what her message was. Um, like I think you had a pretty clear summary, like once you connected that it was Joan of like she wanted to go home, I think you were saying.
Yeah.
But like I feel like maybe she just wanted some comfort. I don't know. Like it just was
Yeah.
very, I think I think the fact that she was picking me out of the group was very peculiar of like again with my experience of like childcare and this like comfort feeling where it's like there's other safe spaces in that circle, like other people that have kids and things like that, but like she was picking me where it's like maybe she was just wanting comfort. I don't know.
Yeah, because Sean has two girls.
Yeah, I was like, I
Yeah,
know
and
Sean has kids.
they're young too. They're like, I don't know, they're both under 10. I know that.
Yeah, or I was like, I see Sean as a safe space, even though I hadn't seen him in 20 years and things
Yeah.
like that. Um, so like I don't know. I think that part's really interesting to me that the little girl was interacting mainly with me. And like I don't
Yeah,
think she was interacting. Also, she didn't want to interact with the men.
I did notice that.
Like she didn't want to interact with any of the men. Because then I don't we felt like we were talking to somebody different the night that Eric did the knocking.
Yes. Yes.
So like my main experience is with a little girl, but like I don't like that night I didn't really feel much.
Yeah, it's different, right? It was a completely different energy. But it's interesting
Yeah.
that you say that because John has 4 kids and he's got girls. And
Oh,
he's very attached to the youngest because the whole time we were downtown, he was talking about his youngest and she was in a swim meet or something like that. And so he was talking about that. So that was very interesting. Like I said, Sean has girls. You play with kids a lot. I don't know about Karen. I don't think Karen has kids. But he's
I don't
very
think so
like
either.
he's a very like nice person though. You know what I mean? Like he's very caring. So
Yeah.
um and then um Sarah has you and then Kemi has a son. So everybody down there had kids or dealt with kids. But for whatever reason, she attached to you, but she let Sean do things. Like she was like, go over here, Sean, or like she was letting Sean do things, but she wasn't
Yeah.
talking to him per se, if that makes sense. But she was like, we have the same birthday. Let's like there was an energy exchange there. But I thought was interesting too is you both were the Scorpios in the room too.
Sean and I,
Yeah,
yeah.
he had
It's
the
almost
birthday.
Scorpio season. It was
Right. And
happening during Scorpio season, right?
yeah, we're in Scorpio
Yeah.
season. And
I know,
then
but that was he's like that's right at the cusp when we were there.
yeah, it hadn't happened yet. We were still in Libra season, but she picked you too. I know your birthday's in November, but it's it was just interesting because I was like, wait a minute, she's a Scorpio and she's talking to the Scorpios. What's going on here? We're having a little Scorpio ball party here. Like,
We unite. Scorpios unite.
yeah. So why do you think that she came to us in the basement? Why do you think that she was in that house and not where she's supposed to be? Well, we don't know where she is. She's missing. She has been missing. She was taken by 2 people and they don't know what happened to her. So why do you think she came to us? Because she didn't really tell us why.
Yeah. Um, I don't think I have an answer. I don't know why. I think I'm still figuring out like why she even wanted to interact with me. I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, the light just really all of a sudden.
Okay. Because she didn't tell us. She didn't, once we figured out who she was like, yeah, okay, anyway, let's play. Like she wasn't like giving us any
I think that's a
information.
very like childlike energy though, too, of like kids don't always tell you what you want to hear. So
Yeah.
they're very much wanting to do, she wanted to play. She didn't want to talk. She didn't want
Yeah.
to talk about what was going on. Where like maybe that was an ex, escapism. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it
You
is.
got it right.
Um uh type of thing. He's like, I if we're interacting with a kid, the kid's not going to talk to us like an adult. And
True.
like so like I think having that type of mindset is like you're trying to get answers from like an adult that will have a conversation with you. But
Right.
like as you know, if you ask a kid a question, sometimes they're not interested in that question. They want to focus on what they want to do. So I think she just thought we were fun and wanted to play. Like I think that was kind of like at least her motive of things of like not wanting. Yeah, because as soon as we started asking more questions and figuring out who she was, she kind of just backed off. She didn't want to engage with that. Or like she wanted to like mess around and play with us. Um, which I think is very like makes sense for like a very young girl.
Yeah. She definitely wanted to see us to see those cellar, doors for the the tornado. She definitely wanted, um, and she did keep saying monsters. So there was something about the monsters that we didn't quite get. But then the tornado was the monster because in the
Yeah.
article it did say we did look up an article and it said the monster tornado, and I was like, what? That is so creepy specific. After that, I was like, okay, and then the birthday thing happened, and then like all these like things started to happen, and I was like, okay, like we definitely have the right person. Like this is not coincidence, but like who else is the monster, you know? Because then the next night, the other woman said monster too.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know who the monster is. There's another monster.
Maybe men. Men are typically a good answer for that.
True, true. But so we had that, and then the next night you didn't feel as much with the interaction with the owner of the house.
No, I was not getting as much energy from that. Like I feel like, yeah, I was listening, but like I did not have as much interaction with that at all.
You didn't feel connected to it at all, huh?
No.
Yeah. I think that was for my dad, your grandpa. I think he needed to experience something in order to believe, since he's been so anti it for, I don't know, the good part of 30 years. Um,
Yeah. It was interesting. He like it was wild to hear or watch Grandpa listen to Eric do the knocking. Where like I feel like that was like Eric held Grandpa's attention, which, as you know, is not always easy.
Not an easy feat.
Yeah. We're like it felt very it was interesting to see Grandpa intentionally like engage with it. And like especially when Eric was doing the knocking, Grandpa felt very like wanting to like engage or like try to at least his best to like be present with what was happening.
I think it's interesting too that Eric was knocking to see if the entity would knock back, and it decided it didn't want to knock, it just wanted to use the K2 meter.
Yeah,
It didn't want to make a noise, and I found that very interesting.
maybe they didn't like being told what to do.
It could be that too. Another
It's
Scorpio.
like,
She's
or
a
it's like,
Scorpio too.
yeah. Yeah, it's like maybe it was like, I'll show you that I'm present, but I'm not gonna do exactly what you are telling me to do.
Right, right. Because she was doing it in time. I mean, there was a direct correlation between when Eric knocked and when the K2 meter went off. I mean, it was kind of uncanny.
Yeah,
Yeah. But we have another Scorpio that we have you. We have Sean was there, I believe. John was there, yeah. Sean. And then your grandpa is also a Scorpio. So we have three Scorpios in a room talking to a Scorpio.
yeah.
So that was interesting too. Um, so you didn't really that was just a different night. It was so different. It was so the energy was just so different.
Yeah. I
Different
was like, I
person.
didn't, yeah. Like that night, I don't have, there's no interactions with me personally. Or like, I
Okay.
feel like all of the interaction, and like that night though is when I saw the shadowy man and then the person
Interesting.
on the chandelier. Like, and I think that was like at 5 or 6 a.m. or something like that.
So it's just reminding you that it's there, but it's not going to interact with you.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have interacted with me. I didn't want to interact with it at that moment. It was like dark and scary. Eric was passed out. Everyone was asleep. I didn't want to do it by myself.
Right. Different vibe. Different vibe.
Yeah.
Are you the monster? Because you feel
And I
like
was like, these aren't the friendly little kids. I don't know. It's like this is a different energy. I don't like it. So I just went back to sleep or tried to.
yeah. Okay, we're almost done. We've got about 5 minutes. So wrapping up, how do you feel about the whole experience as a whole?
Um, I thought it was quite fun. Like I've definitely had a lot of nerves going into it. Um, but it was I think it was quite interesting because again, I hadn't had a lot of like paranormal or spirit like interactions for a while. So like it definitely was something that I had experienced before, but like re-experiencing it and getting kind of in touch with that was cool. Um, Also that like sorry, the thought got away. Like I thought it was also very neat that the girl kind of found me as a comfort and like
Mhm.
wanted to like really, I felt very special that she was really mainly interacting with me. So like knowing that like at least I have some type of like comfort energy, I thought was kind of like it was interesting because like yeah, none of the adult ghosts I feel like wanted to interact with me, but it was like that one kid ghost. And I was like,
Right.
if that's the energy that wants to like interact with me, that I'll like that energy. Like
Yeah.
it was what I would prefer.
Right.
Um, yeah, I was like, it was just a very unique and I think eye-opening experience. 'Cause, yeah, I never done an investigation before like that.
Does it make you want to do more?
Um, Maybe it's like I would have to like I don't want to do like these there's like the people that go to like the asylums and things like that where it's like I would be very like particular on like what investigations because I don't want to deal with any negative
Right.
energy. I feel like as very like empathetic person, I don't need that.
Right. I think it's because I think part of it too is because I created a safe space because I knew that there were a lot of beginners, like obviously John knows how to investigate. Um, Sean felt like he knew what he was doing, but everybody else in the group was kind of new, and this is like, I mean, obviously everybody has abilities because, you know, your mom does, and she just pretends she doesn't. Um, I found out John is clairvoyant and Sean is like kind of off the charts psychic in some way, shape, or form, right? He interacts.
Sean's on his own
Yeah, he's
journey.
kind of got his own thing
He's
going on.
he's got in his own world.
Right. But I just felt like in the moment everybody needed to feel comforted and needed to feel safe, right? That was the
Yeah.
energy I was trying to put forward. So I think that made it a little bit easier for everybody to communicate and to have the experience that they needed, which is interesting though that you kind of shined because like all of a sudden you're like dowsing rods, hey, I can do this, you know what I mean? And you were just so like on point. Like we all sort of that first night we all sort of just looked at you like, okay, what's next, kid? Because like you got the show here, this is you.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know, did it make you, I mean, did you feel powerful in the moment, or did it make you feel like did you make it feel confident, or like did it do anything for your system in any way?
Um, I don't know. I was like, I don't think it made me like, I feel like, again, I had so much anxiety that night, like
Yeah.
dealing with like and trying to interact with the ghost, where I was like, I was very much of like, I don't want to be running this boat, but all of a sudden I'm being told to run the ship, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't, I'm just here. And then it picked me, and I don't know why it picked me. Um, like, I feel like that was kind of the thought process like going my head.
Yeah.
And then I was like, she told me to pick up this piano. I don't know what to do with this piano. Like, I just said that I had energy, and now I'm carrying this piano to the basement. I don't want to be carrying this piano to the basement. It was like, why is this ghost interacting with me, but not everyone else as much? But like after the fact, it was like pretty cool. Where it's like, oh, it's like it was for a ghost to interact with me. I'm happy it was that ghost to interact with me.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense.